What's going on, people? It's your boy the Buckness, and I'm here to review today, finally, the Audeze LCD-X's and my own custom 8-foot cable. So when I got these, the dude gave me the closed back versions, but he had these outer cups, custom laser cut, to where you can actually change these into open back. So I've left these as open back. Wow, I waited this long to talk about these headphones because I needed to spend that much time with them before actually giving a solid review, because these were hard, and I've gone through maybe 13 or 14 different pairs before I settled on a few, this being one of them for now. The thing with these, they're super well built. They're super comfy, and they're super big, but don't let that fool you, because they are mad comfy. These pads are really thick. They give a good distance from your ear. These are magnetic planar, as opposed to dynamic drivers, and I really like the fact that they're just built like a tank. I mean, I wouldn't want to drop these because they are a little bit heavy, but if you do, best believe these things will probably last. Now, I've read in the past that the differences between actual unit to unit as opposed to model is somewhat different, but seems to be a little more controlled nowadays. I don't know what year these are exactly, but I did receive them in 2020. Now, I'm not sure how long the previous owner had them, because I traded the focal clears for those, and I wanted to do a review of those, but I got rid of them so fast because I saw these and I became more attracted to them. Here's a few things that I think about the headphones overall in terms of sound. Where they really shined is the low-end detail, bass detail. I mean, like sub-bass detail. The harmonic points that these things reveal are very, very detailed. Sub-bass and top-end detail. You know, the mids, they still shine out, but I think where these really stand out is the sub-bass for sure. This is just my own opinion, and we're talking about hardstyle dance music here. We're not talking about rock, we're not talking about metal, we're not talking about jazz or blues. We're talking specifically pure hardstyle dance music. When I put these on, it's somewhat easy to tell when sub-bass is too loud. It's also easy to tell if sub-bass is too quiet. It's easy for me to tell lower mid to bass separation. It allows me to be able to pick out certain distortion details. Here are some things that I don't favor with these. So for me, the terms imaging and soundstage have totally different meanings. When I say imaging, I'm thinking of where instruments are placed on the stereo spectrum. When it comes to soundstage, to me, it's the total scape of how it plays around your head as opposed to where things are in a stereo image. The soundstage is pretty good. I won't lie, you know, it's pretty decent. You know, if I were to give it a scale out of 10, it'd be, a 7.5. But the imaging, you know, it's not as apparent, really. These aren't really good for trying to decipher where things are in the stereo image, you know. And if you have things in the lower midsection of synths that are getting phasey or too wide, I don't know if these would be something I would make final decisions on. You know, there are some compromises that can be made when it comes to what these things can put out. Overall, they're, you know, for the price, you definitely do get what you pay for. The focal clears, the imaging on those were fantastic, but I just found them a little bland and kind of boring. And, you know, there's something to be said about getting a job done on something that gets the job done, but there's also something to be said about having fun to what you're listening to. These are definitely a lot more fun to listen to with hardstyle and to work with and to mix with. I do go back and forth with Sonarworks on these, and when I do have Sonarworks on, the resonances that are usually revealed they're pretty apparent, you know, they don't stand out at you like a sore thumb. I've been actually using the HD 700 Sennheisers with Sonarworks more than I've been using these recently. Because I know if I can get a mix to sound decent on those, it will sound pretty decent in other places. And I can use that as a better reference point in some instances. Certainly imaging, reverb, and transient responses. Not to say that transient responses aren't good on here, it's just that, you know, on the used market you can get them for like, you know, $800 to $900. I got lucky and traded the clears for these plus the closed back outer cups. So when I do travel, if we get to travel, I've traveled once with these, and I've found the closed backs to be, you know, suitable for sitting next to somebody on an airplane, at least an aisle over. And I did work with these for a week straight, you know. It's not that these are not workable, it's just that these aren't exactly my favorite anymore, especially because I already have a decent system to check low end, and now that I've been using the other Sennheiser models, these kind of have become almost third in line. But I do really appreciate the fact that it has a interchangeable cable. And I built these with a 4-pin XLR end to go into my headphone amp, which has that 4-pin connection as opposed to 1/4 inch. I could, you know, and I can't tell if it's the quality of copper that I used in here, or if it actually is the 4-pin circuitry within the unit, but I can tell things opened up in terms of not as harsh. I wouldn't say frequency response changed or like things became much more clearer, but things were less cloudy, I would say. And like I said, I can't tell you if it's because of the actual type of cable that I used. I'm going to use Mogami 2983, I think, or 2893. I think that's it. I did braid this myself. I could do my braids, y'all. Even with the original cable, the sound signature is going to be the same. The thing that really kind of has me keeping these is the comfort, the low-end response, the high-end details, and just the build quality. This thing is rugged as hell. And they're nice headphones. They when you hold them, you feel like you're actually holding a really quality product. Now, I have not heard the HD 800s, nor do I think I even really want to go that route, because I think these 700s with Sonarworks are doing me just fine, and I scored them used for $330. So you can get a pair for $350 or less if you look hard enough. And Sonarworks, they have headphone calibration profiles and whatnot, but if you listen to those 700s without it, you get this nasty, harsh 6 to 7K resonance, and it's just gross. I cannot hear them without Sonarworks, or else it literally will pierce my ears, and it sucks. But when Sonarworks is active, they work solid. Now, even without Sonarworks with these, you will still get a valuable detail of information when it comes to bass. And when I went from the focal clears and put these on right away, I mean, it was like a night and day difference of the things I can hear on the low end. So there's something I can really appreciate about those. However, they just haven't been used as much lately. And I've tried comparing my RME headphone amp to, I'm using the Jotunheim too from Schiit Audio, and there are some sound signature differences, but I think really what I'm kind of learning now, at least in my experience thus far, I don't know how dependent headphones are to amps as opposed to what headphones are to the user. So I guess in another way of saying that is a headphone amp going to improve your headphone sound? I don't know. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole. But will your headphone gear change the way you hear sound much more than changing a headphone amp? Yes. So, I'd say personally that if you have a pair of headphones and you're thinking an amp is going to upgrade it, maybe you should try a different pair of headphones first. However, without getting too far off topic, these are the LCD-X's by Audeze. They are a really nice pair of cans. But would I recommend them at that price range? Where else could you put your money in the studio? All things to ask. I mean, after trying 15 pairs or 14 pairs, whatever, more than 10, more than 12, I know that, it really comes down to what you hear for your ears as your own reference. I cannot stress that enough. It really, really depends. It's, you know, with speakers, it's about your room, and it's, of course, about your personal taste, but it is about your room a lot. With headphones, it really ultimately comes down to personal taste and flavor. So, with that being said, these are the Audeze LCD-X's. If you have any questions, message me. I'm on the computer every freaking day, so The Buckness Official. I'm everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, MySpace. Anyhow, you know the works. I will keep you guys posted on some more reviews in the near future. Yeah.